So, what's up, nobody? Me, Short Gorilla, here again with a fasting and channel update. So, I am still on my grind. I'm still doing my 5 to 6 day a week fasting, give or take, depending on stress levels and other factors. And it occurred to me that maybe I am being slightly vague or slightly obtuse about my protocol here. So, the main thing is I'm fasting 5 to 6 days a week. I'm eating on the weekends. I'm trying to stick to whole foods on the weekends. But this is what I am doing. It's extreme. It's what's working for me. It's I've done intermittent fasting for years. Okay, so this is something that I can stick to. It's something that I can adhere to. It's not like a fad diet kind of deal for me. Okay, it's not like I'm trying keto, or it's not like I'm trying the Whole30 or the sugar cleanse or some other crap like that. Like I'm doing a protocol that I know that I can adhere to. It's something that's tried and true for me, and it's something that I know is effective and sustainable, right? So I can do intermittent fasting. It's what's helped keep me from becoming obese for the last 10, 15 years of my adult life. This particular protocol is a bit more extreme. However, I'm easily becoming known as the guy that fails at finishing or completing 30-day challenges, right? So, the difference here is that when I'm fasting, I don't get the hunger pains, I don't get the cravings, I don't get the urges that I got when I was doing like the liquid diet. The liquid diet was extremely challenging for me. That was very hard. And the more that I study and research, the more I learn that there's like important reasons behind that. For example, when you're doing the liquid diet, right? You're still causing insulin spikes. You're still causing ghrelin spikes. You're still having all these fluctuations in your hormones that trigger things like hunger or cravings, right? You don't get that when you're fasting because your body recognizes that there's no food coming in, so it's not preparing for food. It's preparing for survival, right? So, and I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be an expert. I'm oversimplifying this like to a gross amount. Okay, I could expound on a lot of the science, but I don't pretend to be an expert. I am a layman. I am a hobbyist. I study nutrition, physiology, anatomy, all that stuff because it's intrinsic to me. I'm interested. It's fun for me, but I don't pretend to be an expert. Okay, I do feel confident that I know what I'm talking about when I discuss it. And if I go to make a claim, I feel that I can back that up with research. But I'm not about to say you should do this or anyone else should do this or here's why you should do this or any of those kind of recommendations. I'm not going to do that. This is what I'm doing for myself. I feel confident and safe doing it. And, that's good enough for me. I would suggest anyone that goes into any kind of nutritional or dietary change or lifestyle change, do the research for yourself, consult a physician, anything like that. Don't get all your facts from YouTube. Don't get all your facts from blogs, right? That being said, after starting this protocol, I did find a podcast that I highly suggest. It's hosted by a man that's a doctor and another man that is he has a master's degree in it's either nutrition or biology, something like that. But they are not only heavily invested in the subject matter, but they are very well educated. They are hands-on. They deal with people in a clinical setting, so they have real life experience with this. It's not hippie crap. They actually cite studies, they talk about research, they talk about, actual scientific findings. They debunk a lot of the ridiculous claims. But their whole podcast is about fasting, and it's very informative. And a lot of what they talk about is hormones, diabetes, obesity, and health issues in general, not just fasting. The podcast is called Fasting for Life. It is not strictly about fasting, although that is what they use as a tool, not as a cure-all. Okay, it's not a blanket treatment for every disorder or anything like that. It is a tool in the toolbox that you can use to achieve a healthier life. It is not a cure-all. Okay, cure-alls cure nothing. Make that very clear. But I've actually been in contact with these guys. They are extremely helpful. They are extremely knowledgeable. They've been talking to me pretty consistently. They're very supportive. They have an active Facebook group. They have email newsletters that they send out. They have a starting guide for people who are interested in starting fasting. It's all very informative. It's all very educational. It's very helpful. And they don't always recommend it. They tell you if you've got certain health conditions, if you're too young, too old, if you've got pre-existing conditions, there are certain factors where it's not advisable, right? Their biggest thing is they talk about insulin sensitivity and reducing your resistance to insulin, and they talk about time-restricted eating. They don't advocate what I'm doing. What I'm doing is basically poorly fabricated scientific experiment with an N of 1. I'm doing this on myself to see where I go. And so far, it's working really well for me, and it's something I can adhere to. And I don't plan on doing this, the 5-6 day thing long term. I'm doing this for, a couple months maybe. I'm doing this till I achieve a goal, and then I'm going to stop. It's not the 5 or 6 day thing is not long term like the rest of my life. Now, it's something I could revisit. Fasting, intermittent fasting, that is something I can do for the rest of my life. That's fine. You can always just not eat. But super restrictive diets where it's like, okay, you can't have any sugar, you can't have any fat, you can't have any bread, you can't have any fish, you can't have any, I don't know, whatever. Those are much more difficult to adhere to because you have hormonal responses, you have cravings, you have triggers, you have all these other things that they're difficult to manage, right? And especially if you are resistant to insulin, if you're having these triggered ghrelin spikes where it's like, I eat every day at 5 o'clock when I get home from work, right? 5 o'clock rolls around, ghrelin amps up, right? Insulin spikes because it's getting ready for food, and all of a sudden you're crazy hungry, and that's really hard to overcome. Okay? I used to be obese. I've had eating disorders my entire life. I've had body image issues my entire life. I'm not ashamed of that, but those are very difficult things to overcome, and your body is working against you. And so these guys, they know a lot about the subject matter, and they're very helpful. I found them to be very insightful, very helpful, and honestly, I reached out to them and they got back with me, and it's been amazing. They've been very helpful, so I really appreciate them. Again, that podcast is Fasting for Life. I have several videos in the works that will be coming out hopefully soon. So if you like what I do, if you like my stupid channel and the dumb content that I put out, please like, share, and subscribe. Pass it around. Let's get a community going. My friend, one of my best friends, and we are working on a project together, but his comic, Schizo and Punk, just released a new issue. I'm in it. I'm actually in 2 issues so far. He hasn't managed to kill me yet. So check that out. It's on Webtoons. It's on something else. He's got a Patreon going. Please support him. His art is beautiful. His art is amazing. His name is Matt Northrup. He is an amazing comic book artist. He's an amazing artist in general, but, you know, for our whole lives, he's wanted to work in comic books. And now he makes his own, and it's great. So check that out. Yeah, that's everything. Cool. I'm going to go rehydrate and take some vitamins and pass out. So thank you guys. I love you. Have a good night.